This is the beer I've been waiting to try. This is a single hopped double IPA using the hop Peacharine. It's from Track and Freestyle Hops, but what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to New Zealand via Manchester. This is a Track and Freestyle Hops collaboration. It's a singled hopped double IPA, 8%, called Switch, and it has got Peacharine. It's quite a new hop. We've had one beer from Phantom Brewing that had Peacharine in it, and I quite enjoyed it, but this is given the double IPA treatment. So let's crack it open, get it in the glass, see what it's all about. So Peacharine, the latest New Zealand hop, and they couldn't come up with a name that was going to rightfully fitting of the flavour of this hop. I'm joking, of course. Yeah, I mean, if there's an obvious sort of flavour you're going to get with this, is peach, hence why it's called Peacharine. I'm not quite sure what other stuff whether it brings anything else to the party, as it were. But we'll try. We'll see this one. I mean, this is a single hop double IPA. If you're going to get the best of the hop, you'd hope you're going to get it in a double IPA. And if you're going to go with someone like Track, you know you're going to be after something good. So, give it a little top up there, so it looks perfect in the glass. There we go. Well, we've got a beautiful looking golden, fairly translucent, no, not translucent, fairly thick looking hazy beer. We've got literally just a finger of head, loose bubbles around the edge. I don't think that's going to stick around that long, but that looks pretty damn good in the glass. Always when a double IPA, and I know it's going to be a good one, I crack out the good glass, as it were. This is one of my favourite glasses. So yeah, let's see what the aroma's like. Well, there is peach in there, but there's more to it than peach. I'm getting a whole load of tropical mango, passion fruit, papaya, all of that sort of stuff. Lots of stone fruits, maybe a little hint of apricot. So it's peach, but peach, intense peach. So peach obviously is a stone fruit, but if you think of intense stone fruits, I always think, a mango being a stone fruit and an apricot being another one. All of that sort of stuff. There is a slight, just so you know it's a New Zealand hop, there is that sort of slight lemongrass sort of aroma in there, a little bit of dankness. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, so let's go for it. Cheers, everyone. Wow. Big hits of flavour. There's a little bit of warmth, whether that's hop burn or alcohol. I'm probably thinking more the latter. It doesn't ruin the beer, but there's definitely a warmth and intensity of hoppy flavour, which, as I said, could be more sort of on the alcohol side. I always find it difficult to sort of know which one's which. I've had low, like 6% IPA where I'm getting that sort of almost that warmth, and you think, well, it's not going to be from the alcohol because it's not overly strong, but at the same time, and so then I always think, well, it's got to be more about the hoppiness of it, and again with this one, 8%, yeah, it could be alcohol, could be hoppiness, but incredible beer. I mean, for a single hop, there's loads going on. Similar to the aroma, big hits of stone fruits, your apricots, your melon, apricots, your mango, and peach or nectarine, whatever. There's a little bit of sweetness, but not huge amounts of sweetness. There is a dankness, but not too much dankness. It's smooth. The carbonation is ultra soft on this beer. It's almost like just a slight hint of carbonation, very smooth. I would say it's more of a medium body, which is what I want from a double IPA. yeah, I mean, it's not, there is that sort of slightly oily sort of texture to it, which creates a, you know, which sort of glides down, but also coats. So the flavour sort of hangs around a little bit. It doesn't sort of just wash itself away. So there's a good mouthfeel, good flavour. And I think Peacharine could be that hop that, like Citra, that works really well on its own. It's definitely more on the tropical side. It's quite different than a lot of New Zealand hops. I think Nectaron is probably closer to this, but this is much more distinct on the stone fruit flavours. Yeah, loads of flavours. I mean, it's a flavour that I think, I'm tasted something like that. It reminds me a little bit of Polly's in terms of its some of their IPAs. But you might get 2 or 3 different hops in that to create that tropical medley of flavour. I'm not really getting much in terms of citrus fruits. A little bit of hint of grapefruit, but there's just a little bit of sharp bitterness on the back end. So I don't really know. Again, that could be more the hoppiness than the actual flavour coming through of grapefruit. Yeah, and I think, you know, I've given this beer the right sort of level of respect, because I got it out and I've had it out. I don't think what the time is. I think it's about 45 minutes or so since I got it out of the fridge, and it was ice cold when it got out of the fridge, which I was like, oh, I can't drink it like that. And I've left it 45 minutes. I've controlled those urges, and it's spot on. It's still cool, it's still quite cold actually, but it isn't ice cold, and it's just about the right temperature. I mean, I don't know what temperature it is, but I would probably say it's more around the sort of 5-6 degrees maybe. Spot on. It's more what you'd expect if you had it in a pub, or, you know, you had it on keg. Yeah, loads of flavour, loads of intensity, stone fruits until the cows come home, really. So it's a great beer. Peacharine. We should have it more. I mean, it's not appearing that much. It's appearing on its own a lot. So maybe it's one of those hops. I'm thinking what a Peacharine and say a Nelson Sauvin could do. Yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty interesting. But this is a good beer. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Switch Double IPA, featuring just the one hop, Peacharine. I say it's one hop. It says DIPA Peacharine, but actually, let's see if it does actually call it is actually that. Because sometimes you see these beers and it says, oh yeah, we've got Peacharine, and it also, and you think, oh, it's that Peacharine hop. And then when you read the blurb, you think, oh yeah, we've added a little bit of Citra in there, or we've added a bit of something else. But by the sounds of it, it says it's a single hopped double IPA with by freestyle hops. It says here that it's obviously a New Zealand hop, and it's grown in the southern part of New Zealand. Now, I'm not sure whether all the other hops are in the southern part. That's something that I should probably know. It means I love New Zealand hops. I suppose, I don't know, where the ground sort of everything, but in the north you get it's a bit more tropical in terms of the weather's a little bit, you know, it's in the summer months in New Zealand it's pretty damn hot there, but in the southern parts, I mean, I've been to New Zealand, the southern parts of New Zealand, out of seas, especially sort of spring and autumn, those sort of seasons, the south can be almost like England in terms of its weather. And I don't know if that's the right sort of climate to make hops, but obviously this one is made there. But it could be just in the southern. Does it say it's been? It says southern, grown in southern New Zealand. It doesn't say. You'd think that's the South Island, but it doesn't actually say the South Island. It could be the southern part of the North Island. Anyway, we're going off on a little bit of a tangent, and what we're here for is the scores. So let's crack the scores out. I'm taking my glasses off, starting with aroma, appearance, flavour, value for money. Now, this was probably the most expensive beer that I had. I should have actually checked this before I started, although I've given the score already, because I know it was an expensive one, but exactly how expensive it was. Yeah, £7.50. Now that is expensive for a beer. If it's a really good beer, then it's worth that money. But I think the value for money score is fair. It's not that sort of level like 8, which a lot of the beers are if they're at the price right. So I've dropped a point down for that because I think £7.50. I've had some good double IPAs that are probably as good as this that were like £1 or even £1.50 cheaper. So yeah. Anyway, that's the value for money score. And finally, my overall experience. Tighten the scores up. We just about creep into the highly recommended. Total score, 80 out of 100. Yeah, it's a good beer. It's a great beer, in fact. Peacharine hop, I think we're going to see more of it. I think it's one of those sort of hops that can work really well. I'd expect it to start working well with other hops. I mean, it's a slightly more mellow, slightly more, there's, more now I'm drinking, it's warmed up a little bit more as well. I'm getting lots more of those sort of little sort of subtlenesses of those sort of New Zealand flavours, the grape and the gooseberry, the melon, those sort of flavours coming in. Actually, it's actually getting even better. So I think that this is a good hop. I suppose it's similar to like a sort of lighter version of something like Galaxy from Australia. Maybe even a little bit like it, but a more intense version of Enigma. Yes, they are very similar, these sort of hops. But it's a new hop, and I think it's one of those hops that they've said, yeah, this can work really well on its own because it's got lots of complexity. It's a good beer, good hop, 80 out of 100. That's a highly recommended score. It's the heaviest of heavy metal. It's the Iron Maiden on the scale, Rocker's scale of beer. I very rarely talk about my scale of beer because I've been doing it for 4 years now, and I almost forget myself. But if you're a top level, if you're 90 plus, you're a Van Halen of craft beer. I think we've had 1 or 2 in the 4 years that have hit that. The 80 plus is the Iron Maiden, the heaviest of heavy metal. That's a very good, highly recommended score. The 70s, that's the White Snake. That's the slip it in, slide it in, slow and easy. Yeah, you know what I mean. And that's a recommended. Anything over 70 is definitely worthwhile. And I think if you like certain hops in each one, then you're going to like it. Under 70, 70 to 60, or 60 to 70, I should say. That's the Bon Jovi beers. That's an average beer. That's the sort of beer that, is all right, but there's loads and loads more better than that. So probably you should sort of move on if you see those sort of beers. And if you get under 60, well, that's a horrible beer you should avoid. It's a Coldplay beers. It's bland. It's not. I mean, Coldplay beers, I wanted to call it that because it was bland and a little bit sort of boring. But actually, if it's under 60, it's worse than that. It's terrible. You shouldn't really drink it. It's the Well, I always say something like, I don't want to say Justin Bieber, but it's, let's say it's the, what's a really band? I don't even want to put a rock band in there because I don't think it's fair. It's just basically manufactured pop, anything under that. So you really want to be looking for White Snake and Iron Maiden beers on this channel, and this one is an Iron Maiden. So let me know if you've had any Peacharine hops in any other beers. Let me know if you've had it as part of other stuff. I think, with the freestyle hops, you're going to start getting that mixed with other stuff. We've had a beer recently that had, we didn't have Peacharine, we had Nectaron, and it had Muteka, it had the Mutieka, I should say, the hop Kiev. So it had Nelson. I think it didn't have Nelson, but it had Oruaka. That was the other one. So you're getting those blends of New Zealand hops. But I'd be interested to pair this with something like Citra, or something weird like, what about Sabro and Peacharine? Yeah, that'd be an interesting combination. I don't see much Sabro these days. I can't remember the last time I had a beer with Sabro in. But I'm going off on 1, and we're well over 10 minutes. In fact, we're probably closer to 15. So I'll leave it there. Remember, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe, because I've seen so many YouTube channels that say, oh yeah, there's like 80-90% of people that watch this video are not subscribed. So if you've watched it and you like it and you thought, God, this guy goes on a bit, maybe his next one will be a bit shorter, it might be. So subscribe and you'll find out. And until the next one, I only ask 2 things of you. The first one is drinking good craft beer, and the second one is keep on rocking.